Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Dismantle the Culture podcast. I know some of you may be asking, why the hell is the episode called Rape Culture Does Not Exist? I'm shocked that I put that title there. I didn't expect that I was going to step into this platform on my high horse, on my pedestal, and name my first episode, Rape Culture Does Not Exist. And I know some people are annoyed by that title. They were triggered by that title. They were upset, enraged, angered, felt disrespected, felt harm to who they are and the representation of their inner being. They felt as though the title in itself is not a justification because guess what? This is the podcast all about dismantling that belief that rape culture does not exist, because it does. That discomfort that this title brought to you is a similar discomfort that many people experience from being violated. I know that statement in itself does not truly have the emotional trauma, the physical trauma, the mental trauma that a lot of victims of sexual violence have experienced. But nonetheless, there's still discomfort that exists for those who've been in that space, that have been victimized by some other person. So welcome to the Dismantle the Culture podcast, where we unravel rape culture one factor at a fucking time. I'm sorry, I did not mean to cuss in that moment. Let me compose myself right quick. Welcome to the Dismantle the Culture podcast, where we unravel rape culture one factor at a time. This is not the podcast for you to feel comfortable. This is the podcast to help you learn what many individuals have experienced throughout their lifetime, because rape culture is real. Rape culture is thriving. Rape culture impacts men, women, gender non-conforming, trans individuals. It impacts all of us on some level. But we, as a society, choose to believe that rape culture does not exist. And I'm here to tell you, the shit exists and it thrives. And I want it to stop. So again, as I've said a few times before, welcome to the Dismantle the Culture podcast, where we unravel rape culture one factor at a time. Now, let me tell you exactly what you're going to experience throughout this podcast. We're going to talk about the definitions of rape culture. Unfortunately, I don't have a date, time, or place, or even someone that I can personally credit for the development of the term or coining the term rape culture. But I do have a few definitions that I could provide, but that's going to be for a future episode. What you are going to get is what I researched. So I'm going to use that definition when that time comes, so everyone understands. But I do need people to also know that rape culture, or how we define it, it varies per person. It is something that, from my research, developed more in the social sense rather than the academic sense. Rape culture has many factors that can include slut shaming, victim blaming. It can even include hookup culture, hypermasculinity, alcohol and drug use. There's this thing called rape myth acceptance that is very thriving at this moment. Gender roles are a part of that. Sexual aggression and coercion is a part of that. Male dominance. Well, I guess you should have known that from gender roles, but that is a part of rape culture. And I'm here to point the shit out so we can all heal. Be mad, be merry. I don't give a fuck, but you're going to get the knowledge that you deserve. I'm here to make people angry. I'm here to be unapologetic. I'm here to shake up some tables, because that's the person who I am. The table shall be shooketh. from the core of its foundation to whoever's sitting at that shit. It shall be shooketh. And I'm happy that I get to be the person. I'm glad that I'm the vehicle that gets to bring that shaking. So when you think about rape culture, what is the first thing that comes to mind? Oh, a culture of rape. What is that? No, it's not necessarily a culture of rape. That is part of it, but it's more than that. It's a culture that just says that these things, like violence against women, are acceptable. It is the conversation of being with a partner and they gaslight you to make you feel as though you have no autonomy over your body because they own you. It is being stealthed within your sexual encounter. And what does that mean? That is the time when you're having sex with your sexual partner. It can be a casual hookup. When you, as a person who's either penetrating, being penetrated, or whatever the case may be, choose to remove the condom off your person in order to have sex with that person without their full consent, without their knowledge of what the fuck just happened. It is inviting someone over under false pretenses so that you can violate their body without having the conversation of what they want. It is the belief that you have ownership of whoever you decide to fuck without giving them the opportunity to say no to whatever your sexual interest may be. It is the audacity to have the selfishness within the sexual act that only your pleasure matter and that person is just a toy for you to fucking play with. That is what rape culture is. And this is why you should have been angry at the fact that the episode was titled Rape Culture Does Not Exist instead of being comfortable with that shit. If you're angry now, just wait for the next episodes because I cannot wait to piss you the fuck off. The Dismantle the Culture podcast focuses on unraveling the layers of rape culture in the attempt of ending it on a global scale. Rape culture is as intricately woven into societal teachings and practices as systemic racism. On Dismantle the Culture, we are not afraid to call any issue by its name. The podcast provides nuanced conversations rooted in facts and, at times, anecdotal experiences. This podcast is more than an educational tool. It is an instrument for advocacy for a better tomorrow for all. The topics discussed range from consent to toxic masculinity to surviving sexual violence. Follow the podcast today and help us dismantle the culture. Thank you for listening to the Dismantle the Culture podcast. This podcast focuses on unraveling the layers of rape culture in the attempt of ending it on a global scale. It is more than an educational tool. It is an instrument for advocacy for a better tomorrow for all. If you wish to support, you can subscribe to the podcast through your favorite podcasting app or donate to Slater's Playhouse by going to slatersplayhouse.com. That's SLAYTORS, playhouse.com. Support today and help us dismantle the culture.